Today on Jerusalem Dateline, swapping prisoners for peace talks. Israeli families are angry that killers are going free. Plus, who owns Jerusalem? Muslims and Jews both make historical claims, but who has the legal right to the holy city? And biblical prophecy fulfilled. Why some Christians head to the Holy Land to help farmers harvest their crops. Hello and welcome to this edition of Jerusalem Dateline. I'm Chris Mitchell, coming to you with the walls of the old city behind me. In a move designed to promote peace talks with the Palestinians, Israel released 26 terrorists from prison this week. It was a move that sparked rage and grief in Israel, but jubilation in the Palestinian territories. The mood in Palestinian areas was triumphant. All of the terrorists had been given life sentences for the kidnap, ambush, and murder of Israeli soldiers and civilians, or for executing other Palestinians suspected of collaborating with Israel. Now they're free.
I consider the release of the prisoners a national achievement for the Palestinian President Abu Mazen and for the Palestinian people.
Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas called it a happy moment and said there would be more. This was the second in a series of 4 releases, part of an Israeli goodwill gesture to the Palestinians. Critics say there's rarely mention of goodwill gestures from the Palestinians.
The Israeli government took the painful step of releasing convicted terrorists. We did so because we want to give the peace talks a chance. And we think the Palestinian Authority should be condemning terrorism, not celebrating terrorism.
Israeli Deputy Defense Minister Danny Danon says it's a mistake.
I don't think we should pay a price in order to sit in a room with Say Barikat. If they want to negotiate, we can negotiate here, in Ramallah, in New York, Camp David, but we shouldn't pay a price for it.
Danon said he also believes it's morally wrong.
If somebody murdered someone and went to court, and the court decided that he will sit in jail, he should sit in jail. I think it is a moral mistake. It is sending a bad message.
Thousands of Israelis demonstrated against the release outside the prison before it took place. Many victims' families felt betrayed.
It's a dark day for the bereaved families, a horrible feeling, a nightmare that becomes real. We feel that this nightmare is coming back to us, the night of the murder. We feel they are killing my brother again.
Others took their cases to the Supreme Court or came to support victims' families, but to no avail.
Releasing the terrorists will risk any one of us. The terrorists weren't looking for any individual. They were looking to harm Jews, to murder Jews.
They say it's unjust. And past experience shows many terrorists return to terror.
By releasing terrorists, you glorify the terrorists. It's showing there's no punishment, there's no system of justice.
Danon says Abbas calling for a prisoner release is a bad sign.
And the fact that the first request of Abu Mazen is to release people who kill Jews, it's something we should worry about.
There were other signs that freeing prisoners wouldn't change the situation. Even when the release was in the works, Hamas terrorists in Gaza fired 4 rockets at southern Israel. One was intercepted by the Iron Dome anti-rocket system. Israel responded by targeting 2 rocket launching sites. Just hours after the release, the Israeli government announced plans for building projects in eastern Jerusalem and communities in Judea and Samaria, where Palestinians want a future state. Media reports suggested Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu made the announcement as compensation for the prisoner release, and that both the U.S. and the Palestinians knew it was coming. The settlements and the historic claim to the city of Jerusalem are 2 big obstacles to a peace deal. Later in the program, we'll talk to a legal expert of who has a rightful claim to the city, the Jews or the Palestinians. But first, here's the rest of this week's news about Israel and the Middle East.
Thanks, Chris. Well, there are strong critics of the peace process here in America as well. Recently, CBN News spoke with Newt Gingrich, the former Speaker of the House and 2012 presidential candidate, said President Obama's push for a Middle East peace is misguided and dangerous.
Well, I mean, the administration is, I think, almost completely out of touch with reality in the Middle East. We're not going to see peace between the Palestinians and the Israelis as long as the Palestinian version of peace is the elimination of Israel. It's not going to happen. So people can talk about it. We can have our 214th peace effort. The Secretary of State can once again go over and meet with people, and they can have photo ops and have tea together. But it's not going to change things. The fact is, Israel is an embattled country that is doing amazingly well economically, and that is surrounded by danger.
Mr. Gingrich also said that the greatest threat in the region is Iran's nuclear program, and the second greatest danger is the spread of radical Islam. Muslim extremists are a danger not only to the Jews in the Middle East, but Christians as well. In Syria, one of the world's oldest Christian communities is under attack by Muslim rebels. The same rebels, by the way, who are fighting President Bashar Assad's regime. Thousands have fled their homes during the civil war, but some are staying put, and they continue to attend church in the midst of the violence. Dale Hurd has the story.
In a country torn by a violent civil war, the sound of a church bell ringing stands in stark contrast to the sounds of gunfire and bombs that have become the norm. Many Christians have fled Syria. Others stand their ground, risking their lives to attend church.
Even when they hear bombs and shellings, as you see, there are many people in the churches because they see the only hope in the prayer.
Christians are one of the largest religious minorities in Syria. They make up about 10% of the country's population of 23 million people and have found themselves caught in the middle of the brutal civil war. Sunni-led Muslim rebels fighting the government have repeatedly shelled predominantly Christian neighborhoods in Damascus. In addition, al-Qaeda-linked fighters have desecrated churches in areas they have seized. Sami Amir is a Christian from eastern Damascus.
They are targeting specifically a Christian area. They want people to go out, or maybe they want them to be against the regime.
The attack on Christians has Syria's religious minorities deeply concerned about the growing role of Islamic extremism among the rebels fighting President Bashar Assad's regime. Islamic extremists took over the village of Malula last month. Youssef Nami says he and his wife crawled into a small house next to the church. They hid for 3 days until the shooting stopped. Youssef says the jihadists shouted, "Anybody who wants to convert to Islam is good. Otherwise, they will be killed." At least 32 people have been killed and dozens injured in recent weeks in the Christian district of Al-Qasa. At the start of the civil war, many Christians tried to stay neutral. But as rebel forces have become dominated by Muslim jihadis, Christians often have to side with the government. Dale Hurd, CBN News.
Thanks, Dale. Rising anti-Semitism in the Middle East and Europe should provoke Christians to speak up on behalf of Jews and the Jewish state. Well, that's the message from Susanna Kokkonen of the group Christian Friends of Yad Vashem. On CBN's Newswatch program, she challenged Christians to learn more about the effects of anti-Semitism on a society and how to fight back.
I think we need to be educated, and one of the things that Yad Vashem is trying to do is to invite Christians to come and study what are the consequences of anti-Semitism, and we need to fight it together with the Jewish communities, and we need to educate ourselves, and we need to be a voice for the Jewish communities and on their behalf. And I think the greatest thing that Christians can do today is to stand by the state of Israel and even to come to Yad Vashem and study and understand what happens when anti-Semitism is allowed to exist in a society.
You can find out more about the Christian Friends of Yad Vashem at the Jerusalem Dateline website at cbnnews.com. Christians in Israel are showing their support for Holocaust survivors. More than 250,000 victims who lived through the Nazi genocide are in Israel today. Almost half are living below the poverty line. So Operation Blessing Israel is helping them with basic things like food and medicine.
In 1941, Frida Frankel was sent to live in Pechora, one of the most brutal Nazi death camps in Russia. As many as 200 Jews were executed there every day.
The Germans would pick 10 men, count 9, and then shoot the 10th. No one believes that I survived there.
Frida did survive, but the conditions in the camp left her with lifelong health problems.
I returned from the concentration camp with chronic pleurisy in both lungs. I also have a terrible allergy that gives me a constant cough.
Like many other survivors, Frida was over 60 years old when she fled the Soviet Union and moved to Israel. Now, at 85, she can barely pay her bills.
I'm not working now, and I receive only a small pension. I can't afford the special food I need because of my allergy.
When Operation Blessing learned about Frida's situation, we offered to help. Now, every month, she can buy the kind of food she needs, and we pay the bill. Recently, Frida's refrigerator broke down, and she had no money for repairs. Once again, Operation Blessing was there to help. We repaired her refrigerator, and we also check on her to make sure it's full.
Thanks to Operation Blessing, I have now returned to life. In the past, my children would open my empty refrigerator, and they would get worried about me. Now, when they ask me, "How are you?" I tell them, "Everything is okay."
And once again, check out the Jerusalem Dateline website to learn more about this ministry to Holocaust victims. Up next, who has the legal claim to Jerusalem? The answer to the question that's at the very heart of the Middle East peace process.
Hi, my name is Breda. I'm just your typical 9-year-old. I love singing, dancing, reading, discovering the simple truth. My grandpa says you're never too young or old to learn the value of a dollar. He taught me the true value of this paper dollar. You see this little gold coin? It says $1 on it. But guess what? That was a long time ago. Today, this gold dollar is worth over 100 paper dollars. This paper dollar is now only worth 1 penny compared to America's former money, the gold dollar. My grandpa says the only money worth saving today is real money, gold or silver coins. He's pretty smart. How our paper dollars lost their value, he says. It's all explained in a new book, The Great Debasement. It's easy and fun to read. If you call the number on the screen, I will send you a copy totally free. Next time, I'll explain the simple truth about money.
Help! If an emergency happened right now, you can have help at the push of a button with Medical Alert.
Remember when I took that fall, Mary?
Oh, yes, that was terrible.
Yes, it was.
Help!
And I thought, what if you hadn't been there? I ordered my Medical Alert the next day.
I can't describe how safe I feel now with my Medical Alert. You didn't know I was wearing it, did you?
Medical Alert is easy to install, waterproof, and covers you inside your home and out.
It helps me feel safe from fires, break-ins.
And of course, a Medical Alert. And if you don't have a home phone, don't worry. They have that covered.
There's always help at the push of a button. Don't wait till you need it.
Get Medical Alert for less than $1 a day. There are no long-term contracts. Order now and get your second button free. Call for your free brochure.
For your free Medical Alert system with second button free, call 800-575-8507.
The status of Jerusalem is one of the thorniest issues facing Israelis and Palestinians today. International lawyer Dr. Jacques Gauthier says rights were given to the Holy City years ago, but many people simply don't know the facts. CBN News correspondent Julie Stahl talked with Gauthier about who has the legal rights to the city.
Dr. Jacques Gauthier, welcome to Jerusalem Dateline.
It's good to be with you.
Yes, and you've been with us before on Jerusalem Dateline. You laid a very good foundation for us from all your years of research about the legal status of the city of Jerusalem. What are the most significant challenges facing Israel in regards to its claims to sovereignty on the city of Jerusalem?
There are competing claims under international law in respect to the city of Jerusalem. My concern is that there is such a desire to deal with this as soon as possible that political considerations, that pressures will result in the disregarding of rights that have been given to the Jewish people, that have been given to Israel in regard to this holy city. I feel that it's necessary that those involved in the whole political realm should take into consideration the fact that the Jewish people, that the Israelis are not trespassers, they're not outlaws, they're not wrongdoers in the city of Jerusalem because of the rights that have already been given to them.
And who are some of the contenders we have for the sovereignty over the city?
Well, the Palestinian Authority are evidently the primary claimant in respect to Jerusalem. The State of Israel is a claimant, of course, but there are others, whether it's the Catholic faith or organizations, Russian Orthodox Church, the Greek Orthodox Church. There's so many holy sites in Jerusalem that many have demanded that certain things be taken into consideration as well. The Muslim world, considering that this city is a holy city in Islam, has its own agenda, its own expectations.
Do the Palestinians have a legal right to this city?
The answer is categorically yes. The Palestinian Authority, the Palestinian people, have been granted rights historically in respect to the city of Jerusalem. In regard to title, if you like, in respect to Jerusalem, decisions were made at the San Remo Conference in 1920, which were incorporated in the Treaty of Sèvres, in the Mandate for Palestine, Treaty of Lausanne, which gave the Jewish people the political rights. But of course, the inhabitants of this land were given rights as well, in respect to the right to freedom of religion, civil rights, and to take the position today that any inhabitant of this land doesn't have any right would be the wrongful conclusion.
How important is the issue of Jerusalem today?
I would suggest that there are very few issues facing the nations today that are more significant than the question of Jerusalem. It is a powder keg. It is delicate, it is complex, it involves ideologies, it involves the faith of different people. It is politically very, very, very significant. Without doubt, is an issue which could lead to tremendous conflict. The city, I understand, has been destroyed 49 times and then rebuilt. It is the center of so much. So there are very few issues, in my view, that are more important and more significant than the question of Jerusalem.
Dr. Gauthier, thank you for joining us again on Jerusalem Dateline.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Coming up, fulfilling prophecy, one grape at a time.
Attention sleep apnea patients. Are you tired of the expense and hassle of getting your CPAP and BiPAP supplies? Are you fed up with dealing with ill-fitting, leaking, or worn-out masks and straps? Are you worried about the effects that unsanitary tubes, cushions, and filters have on your health? If you said yes to any of these questions, Allied Medical Supply Network has the solution to your problems. You could qualify to have your supplies regularly delivered right to your door at little or no cost to you. That's right, no more inconvenience, no worn-out masks and straps, no more unsanitary equipment, just restful sleep. Call Allied Medical Supply Network today to determine if you may qualify to receive your fresh, brand-name supplies at little or no cost. Don't delay. Call us now to see if you are eligible to save money on regular delivery of your CPAP and BiPAP supplies. Call 1-800-815-9947. That's 1-800-815-9947. Or go to cpapsupplyhelpline.com.
Announcing an important breakthrough in healthcare that can benefit everyone. If you or anyone you love needs affordable health insurance, regardless of a pre-existing medical condition, call Quick Insurance 123 today and get the immediate relief you deserve. Quick Insurance 123 was created to provide affordable health insurance to all uninsured Americans, with or without pre-existing conditions. This is not a discount card. This is a real insurance program that lets you choose from many affordable health plans, with access to doctors, hospitals, emergency services, and more. So call the number on your screen now and get the health coverage you need, just for calling. As a special bonus, we'll send you a free prescription savings card that could save you up to 85% on your prescriptions. That's right, you could save up to 85% on your prescriptions, just for calling. Call Quick Insurance 123 to find out how you can get affordable health insurance and receive your free prescription savings card, just for calling. Don't wait. Getting a free quote is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Call today.
Hundreds of Christians come here each year to help farmers harvest their crops. The help is not only appreciated, it also fulfills biblical prophecy. Julie Stahl explains why.
These Christians help bring in the grape harvest for Israeli farmers. They're part of a group called HaYovel. That's Hebrew for Jubilee.
We're a group of Christian volunteers from America and from Canada and from all over the world who have come to help the Jewish people, specifically in Samaria and Judea, usually referred to as the West Bank.
This vineyard is in Ophrah, not far from biblical Shiloh. More than 300 volunteers worked 30,000 man-hours to bring in nearly 400 tons of grapes across Judea and Samaria over the last 3 months.
You get to see the thankfulness on the owners' faces when you help them out.
Zach Waller directs HaYovel. His parents came up with the idea as a way to serve Israel about 9 years ago. They hoped actions would speak louder than words to help repair relations between Jews and Christians caused by 2,000 years of persecution.
Dad said, hey, this is an opportunity that we have as believers in Yeshua, Messiah, that we can come in and serve and try to restore this relationship.
Then they discovered they were actually fulfilling Bible prophecy mentioned in Jeremiah 31:5, which says, "You shall yet plant vines on the mountains of Samaria," and Isaiah 61:5, which says, "The sons of foreigners shall be your plowmen and your vine dressers."
You will see nations coming to the land, working in the vines, helping the Jewish people. It says in the Bible, it's happening.
Local Jewish resident Aaron Lipkin sees the Christian love as a healing ointment.
Everything that is happening here is a big miracle. It's part of a process called redemption.
Team leader David Johnson oversees about 30 volunteers. This is the 3rd season here for him and his wife.
We have a heart for the Jewish people settling the land of Israel, and it's a heart that we've been given by our Messiah, and we're here to help them.
I'm happy very much because when we walk, we sing, we see the man is very, very happy.
Rick Pauls feels so strongly about the work that he brought his wife and 5 children to pick grapes for a 2nd year.
We feel very protected by God and by the Israeli securities. It's amazing to be here because as you read the scriptures here in this place, it just comes alive.
His wife Karen calls it an opportunity to give, but the biggest impact was just meeting the Jewish people.
Their faith is absolutely unbelievable. No one has been untouched by something pretty intense in their life. I mean, it's not for fame or glory. It's hard, and they just believe in the promises of God.
I mean, just being here is just blown me away, just being able to serve the Jewish people to enhance His kingdom here on earth.
Julie Stahl, CBN News, Ophrah, Samaria.
Coming up, the Bible was birthed in Israel, and now an exhibit on the history of the Bible is coming home to the Holy Land.
Grace, music is unpredictable.
I know I have what it takes.
The Dove Foundation raves. Grace Unplugged is remarkable and inspiring.
This is not about the music. It's about everything else that goes with it. Dad, were you watching me?
A moving and meaningful film.
This book, his words shook me. It was like my whole world.
That parents and teens should see together, says Focus on the Family.
What are you going to do? You're going to drag her back home? Yeah, I might. I think maybe you're fighting God. Just stop running.
Grace Unplugged, rated PG, now playing.
If you had a choice between going bald and a full head of hair, which would you choose? Advances in medical science have resulted in the world's first and only permanent solution to hair loss.
Yes!
You wash it, you cut it. It's your own real, naturally growing hair. When it comes to hair restoration, no one in the world has more experience than Bosley. The results look completely natural and are affordable on nearly any budget. But the entire process can't be explained in 60 brief seconds. So to find out more about this clinically proven and permanent solution to hair loss, call now to receive your free no-obligation information kit. It'll answer all of your questions about hair loss and hair restoration. Plus, we'll also send you this $250 gift certificate just for calling. Every day you wait, you're losing more hair. So don't put it off any longer. You owe it to yourself to find out the facts. Choose hair. Choose Bosley.
Call 800-868-9957. That's 800-868-9957.
Grace, music is unpredictable.
I know I have what it takes.
The Dove Foundation raves. Grace Unplugged is remarkable and inspiring.
This is not about the music, it's about everything else that goes with it.
Dad, were you watching me?
A moving and meaningful film.
This book, his words shook me. It was like my whole world.
That parents and teens should see together, says Focus on the Family.
What are you gonna do? You're gonna drag her back home?
Yeah, I might. I think maybe you're fighting God. Just stop running.
Grace Unplugged, rated PG, now playing.
A unique exhibition of Bible history opened in Israel recently. CBN News got an exclusive preview of this display in the Bible Lands Museum in Jerusalem. John Waggy has that story.
They call it the Book of Books. The exhibition traces the history of the Bible and the Jewish roots of Christianity, tracking the story of God's written word from the Dead Sea Scrolls to the Gutenberg Bible and beyond.
It's the first presentation of this collection of rare and important Bibles and manuscripts and biblical texts, looking at the Old Testament and the Hebrew Bible and the New Testament together in one exhibition here in Jerusalem.
The significance is that we are trying to show the Jewish roots of Christianity.
Bible Lands Museum Director Amanda Weiss says there's no more important city than Jerusalem to host such an exhibit.
We've put an added effort to make it an equally balanced and important exhibition for both the Jewish audience and the Christian world.
The exhibition begins in the Judean desert. We have a representation here of facsimiles of those Dead Sea Scrolls that belong to Amman, Jordan.
Exhibit curator Heather Reichstadt says the dispersion of the Jewish people in 70 AD sets the stage for the exhibit.
We move into North Africa, where we then start to see introduction of Greek, where you have the Septuagint. It's the Hebrew Bible or Old Testament to Christians in the Greek language. After that, we have the introduction of earliest New Testament text.
The artwork on the walls relates directly to the exhibits, and a floor map traces the spread of God's Word throughout the world. Interactive iPads allow visitors to zoom into texts, like this genealogy from Adam to Christ. There's even an exact working replica of the 15th century Gutenberg press, which printed the famous Gutenberg Bible.
And you have a printed page. You could print out several thousand in a day.
We do end the exhibition with one of the oldest biblical texts known to date, which is a blessing from Numbers 6:24 through 26. May the Lord bless you and keep you.
Most of the exhibit comes from the Green family collection, which will one day have a permanent home in a new museum in Washington, D.C. Kerry Summers is chief executive of the Green collection. He says they want to change the notion many people have that the Bible is not readable.
We take on that challenge to provide a means for people to get comfortable reading it. It's literally one of the great rights of the world. It's fantastic, it's entertaining, it's mystery, it's everything that good movies are made of, are found in the Bible.
John Waggy, CBN News.
If you come here to Jerusalem in the near future, be sure to put that on your list of things to do. Well, that's it for this edition of Jerusalem Dateline. I'm Chris Mitchell. We'll see you next time right here in Jerusalem.